On today's show, you may remember her from Up All Night. Please welcome Rhonda Shear.
Hi, Mike. It's Rhonda and Molly, and we're staying up all night with Mike Rand. Yay!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Mike Rand Show. And today's special guest, she was a beauty queen.
Hmm.
Then she became a recurring guest star on many of your favorite shows. She went on to be a cult cable icon, and she launched a multi-million-dollar empire. And now she's back up all night. Please welcome Rhonda Shear. Hey Rhonda, how are
Mike,
you?
you do that very well. I have to tell you, most guys can't do it. So you got it. It's about the shoulder movement. And I have to say it that way no matter where I am, or people get really upset.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Same here. Glad to be here.
Now, Rhonda, you've done so many different things in your career. Do you feel like you lived one life or five different lifetimes?
I was actually thinking about that on my way home from the doctors today. Seems like there's more doctors in my life, but I am a hypochondriac too. Um, I was actually saying some thanks today because I have lived a really amazing life. I have. I mean, there's always things you're like, oh, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that, or blah, 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 blah. But when I think of the things that I've done and my mind was racing all the way back to when I was a kid today. It's pretty cool. So no, it's been great, and I'm very thankful for it. And I reunited with my junior high school boyfriend 25 years ago, and we got married and we started a business together. So I've had two very different sides, which are now at this point in my life are kind of melding together. The showbiz side and the intimate apparel business that we own is kind of melding together. So branding those both together. So it's really cool. It's really cool that at this point in my life, it's very, very, very full circle.
Yep. And you grew up in Louisiana and you got your start in beauty pageants, correct?
I
So
did. I grew up
can
in
you?
New Orleans, which makes you
Mhm.
immediately odd and accepting of everything because that's just the way New Orleans is, a very accepting city. And you're used to, I mean, I drove at 15, drinking was at 18. I mean, I guess that's normal, but you couldn't walk around with a go cup in every other city. Not that I was a big drinker, but just the fact that you think it was normal to literally stay up all night. New Orleans is a 24-hour city, and it definitely is part of my being, of my soul, of who I am. And the Mardi Gras and the color, everything about New Orleans, the melting pot of people, and just a big gumbo of people. So yeah, it's a great town to come from. Very unique, great for anybody who's entering into show business.
Now tell us what pageants you were in and what titles did you hold?
Oh my gosh. Let's see, I think I held about 59 titles altogether. And I started them initially just because I wanted to win a dance pageant because I was going to be a choreographer, I thought. And Miss Dance of Louisiana. I mean, I was a dancer, ballet, tap, jazz, all of that. And anyway, so I kind of just wanted experience to prep me for that pageant. But then once I started winning these little local beauty pageants, I got the bug, and my mother loved it. It was fun for her. She got to meet all the pageant moms, so it became kind of a culture in our lives. So, and I did it not as a child. I started at 16. So from 16 to 18, 16 to 19 was my big run. And I did hold Miss Louisiana World, Miss Louisiana International, and Miss Louisiana USA. Then when I moved to LA, I got back into pageants just as a way for me to start meeting people. And I won Miss Hollywood and Miss Press Club. And that was very cool. So I did a few pageants in Los Angeles when I first got to LA.
Now, what did those pageants teach you about performance and becoming comfortable on stage?
A lot. I mean, way more than I ever thought. Because I mean, live performance is very much part of my life, even now, in selling live on HSN and QVC and other shopping networks. Also, I've been doing stand up, since my early 30s. So stand up is live, obviously. And I host tons of stuff and comics. So I think that was my first, that was the first time I did anything live, was even being asked those questions on stage when you're in the finalists, about world peace and such. And I actually did go on too long on one question in one pageant. I'm sure that's what lost me the pageant, but I think that's what got me into comedy, because I got a huge laugh. So it's like I heard my first laugh then. And so yeah, I haven't didn't even think about that till you said it. It also gave me confidence, obviously, to compete. It also taught me to put my blinders on, and not to really compete with the next girl, but to compete with myself, because I really liked the girls. So I just did my best. And good sportsmanship. Like, if you lose, it's fine, then you just get up and you do it again. So it taught me a lot, and I would not have traded that. The pageant world was wonderful for me.
And now I have to ask you to give us your best pageant wave. Do you do the little turn the light bulb when you do your wave?
Elbow, I used to have a joke: elbow, elbow, wrist, wrist. I won't go into it, it's a little dirty at the end. But no, I was a great pageant waver. I was actually a great pageant walker. And the girls walk differently now in pageants than they did. It's more like the model walk that they do now, which I don't really like, the runway clumping up, like the horsey clump walk that they do. But we were more from the traditional modeling days. And girls would always copy my walk. And then my walk, I really made it kind of a signature walk. It was really because I didn't want, when you spun around, I didn't want judges to have look at my butt for long, because I had a nice ample butt, and butts really weren't in my day like they are now. So I had this quick spin, and then I would look over my shoulder. So I would meet their eyes so they really couldn't look down. And then I would turn around and do this head, and this foot. So it was very much a signature walk that so many girls ended up copying. It's kind of funny when you say that, you're making me think of all these things. So I always had a way of like expressing myself, even when I was the one who came up with Up All Night and a few other signature things through my life that were memorable like that.
Yeah. And now, did you always have your sight set on Hollywood from day one?
Somewhere in the back of my mind, I did, but I was a mama's girl and a daddy's girl, and I didn't think I was really going to leave New Orleans. So I majored in communications, which obviously had theater in it as well, and marketing and PR, but news. So I thought I was going to go into newscasting. And not that I loved that, but I just thought that would keep me close to home. I knew I was going to be in broadcasting, even radio, TV, something like that. And because I started off, I mean, really the first big thing, and when I got the bug, is I was a dancer. So there was a local, uh, our version of the Dick Clark show in New Orleans called Saturday Hop. And I mean, yeah, I actually ended up being managed by Dick Clark down the line. He had a management wing to his company. But anyway, I danced on this show like almost every other week, and it was very cool in New Orleans. And I just loved the smell of the studio and the lights. And the director taught me about the switching, and I just fell in love with the whole behind the scenes as much as in front, which is probably why I've always had a producer's hat on, probably too much so. When you're an actor in the beginning, you're supposed to just let them do that. But it was like I was always like producing and directing in my own mind as well. A little bit of a control freak in a nice way.
Now, you have a very impressive acting resume on so many shows. I can't name them all here, but everybody go look them up because it's insane how many shows Rhonda Shear has been on.
Thank you.
You've been in commercials, you've been in dramas, you've been on game shows. But the one area I want to focus on today is my favorite genre, sitcoms, because you were on a lot of sitcoms that I enjoyed growing up. And I went back and I looked and I was like, I remember these. I went back and I looked at these episodes. So I want to talk to you and ask you about your memories of working on these sitcoms.
That is actually why I moved to LA.
Yeah,
Is
I love sitcoms.
I wanted to be a sitcom actress. That was it. And I have great stories about that. That was my goal, because it combined to me a little bit of theater, because basically I was never like a movie buff. in terms of wanting to be in movies because they're long and you sit around and wait. And what I liked about the whole sitcom world is that you made this little play in a week's time. And then it would air pretty quickly within in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So, you'd get the part, you'd go on the first day and you'd read it with the rest of the cast. The second day, you start moving around with the script. The third day, you're getting it memorized. The fourth day, now you're really, you're basically doing a dress rehearsal. On the fourth day, you tape twice, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved just everything because I was a Lucille Ball fan, and so much. I loved I Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched, but I loved the three camera sitcoms, and that was my love too. And Carol Burnett show and all that kind of like sketch comedy. So, um, that's what I really wanted. That's really what so even when I was doing Up All Night and all these movie producers would come through the show and all these actresses like Linnea Quigley and all these B queens, I could have easily have done those films, but my focus was so set on sitcoms that I got into stand up and then I ended up headlining as a stand up, which wasn't easy as a female in comedy back then. So, but sitcoms was it. And yes, Happy Days was the first one I did. And that meant a lot to me because when I was Miss Louisiana USA, I was sent out to LA. I was still living in New Orleans. I was a junior in college at Loyola in New Orleans. And I was sent out there to do a commercial for one of the sponsors of the pageant, which is a long defunct jewelry line. But anyway, I went out there to do a commercial and some modeling for them, and they just picked me as Miss Louisiana out of the 50 girls. It was very cool. But anyway, I went, did this whole little modeling thing. The publicist for that brand was married to the casting director of Happy Days. So I met her during my time that I was doing that, and she's like, wow, you could be really good for our Christmas episode. We are casting like tomorrow. Do you want to come in and read it? I'm like, yeah, of course. I mean, I had done a lot of acting and had my SAG card and everything already from New Orleans. So I went in and read, and I do not know why, but Henry Winkler and Donnie Most were there, which is rare for the actors to be there. But it was a Christmas special. I never did ask or figure out why they were actually in the reading. But of course, here I am. It's a hot show at the time. And these two guys who I love as a young woman, I'm reading with. So I was a bit nervous. Didn't get it, but she told me later, you got to come back. You're really good for this show. You need a little bit more seasoning. And I was nervous. So long story short, I think it was the second. I got a Bob Hope special. Chuck Barris, I think it was a Gong Show, was the first thing I did for him. And then I got an episode of Happy Days. So that was really very cool. So I got to work with Henry Winkler, which didn't turn out well, by the way, in the long run. So, I mean, there was some ups and downs to that, but I did Happy Days and Cheers and Three's Company and Married with Children and just a whole slew of those shows, Full House rather.
Yep, and you know what? I want to get into those shows because I actually have that written down to ask you some questions about those. And you know what? I'm the same way as you. I grew up with the sitcoms. That is what I wanted. And some people thought I was a movie buff or I knew this and that. And I'm like, nope, it's the sitcoms
Right.
is where my heart is at. That storytelling, seeing the
I
character
love it.
evolve. I just love
Yes.
that.
I love it too. It's funny. I haven't talked to many people. Of course, I mainly speak to film buffs, and I get it. I understand it 100%. Everyone around me is, but I am a sitcom buff.
Yep.
And I got
And
to
it,
work with like the James Burrows and the Gary Marshalls and these brilliant
yeah.
people. So it was just incredible at that time to work with those
I,
guys.
Now you got to hang out at the Regal Beagle on Three's Company.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like I was
So
thinking in
tell us
real
what it was
life,
like
like,
working on
yes,
tell us
I
what it was
did.
like working on Three's Company.
It was really great. My scenes were more with Jack and Mr. Roper. Um, Not Mr. Roper. Oh, what's his name?
Larry.
Yes, yes. So that was really cool. I mean, that's what stands out to me. And I got to kick him or fake kick him in the leg for hitting on me or whatever. Can't remember details, but it was definitely a good episode. I didn't do another one of those. Like I did 3 Happy Days, and that was very cool. They kept bringing me back in for that. And the Married with Children people really liked me, but there were so many girls that they would use of these shows back then. It definitely had the TNA factor, which was alive and well back then before the Me Too movement. So once you did them, it was really hard to get back on them. And then I ended up being managed by Jerry Seinfeld's manager, who was amazing. And unfortunately, my dad passed when I was in my 20s, and I kind of had my own little breakdown. And I went back to LA, rather to New Orleans for a year, and I just lost some footing. I lost some footing. I was like on this climb, and I ended up losing him as a manager. And it wasn't like that was the end by any means. I mean, I did a ton of shows, but I feel like I lost my step. Like I felt like I was really, on my way that way. But it's okay. Things are meant to be. And, I love hosting as well. Got very close to my hosting a CBS show. I filled in for Vicki Lawrence once because I was doing tons of talk shows in the 90s. And that was also becoming like a strong love of mine. I do love interviewing people as well. So anyway, but sitcom was my thing, and I enjoyed every moment on those shows. I guess Married with Children, I think of the most probably because it is aired the most and rerun the most. And also, I hear tons about Full House because I played Kimmy Gibbler grown up on the show in a dream sequence. And so I get a lot of, like, even at these conventions, people remember me more from Full House and still with Married with Children.
Yeah, Married with Children especially was so hilarious. And I gotta say, what did it feel like? Because Married with Children at that time was like the
Huge.
show. Even though Cheers was number one, all these other, but for some reason, Married
You're
with
right.
Children, because it was so edgy and so bold that they would go places nobody else did. A lot of people that have come on this show too have been on Married with Children. So wasn't
Oh,
it exciting when you found out Married with
I
Children?
was so excited, because all these auditions, I didn't know anyone in LA when I got there. And that's why I used the pageants and I met agents. And I didn't know anyone that could help me. So, I mean, whenever I got those roles, I got them on my own, meaning an agent sent me out. I would read with, like, back then, you'd go to the auditions in person, you'd read with a casting director, then you'd get a call back, and then you would read in front of the producers and the directors and a room full of people. And it was just an intimidating feeling, especially when you're very young. And, yeah, so I mean, to get those on your own, just fully on your talent or your comedic timing was really cool. And I still love it. There's still a piece of me. I want to be like an old cougar and get a sitcom. I mean, my husband and I own a studio, and we're producing Up All Night right now. For Kings of Horror, and getting ready to go also on Roku on my own channel. But it's very different. The industry is very different now. But I really want to do really almost closest to a sitcom. I have some ideas that will meld in today's world as well with that. But I still love it. You said the character development, all of that is just so cool.
And then anybody who's watching, Rhonda wants sitcom, I want a sitcom too. So maybe me and Rhonda, we can somebody out there can write us a sitcom, put us together in a
Oh
sitcom.
gosh, always in my Up All Night shows, I'd always bring that up. I was like Lucy. I always bring it up. Like I was always like, doing bits like I was auditioning for Vegas, or I was auditioning for Broadway or something. And I actually thought the person who I had incredible chemistry with was Gilbert Gottfried. When Gilbert and I worked together on maybe 20 shows through the years, through over 450 shows or 430 shows I did. Um, when we worked together, it was this really interesting chemistry. It was like the sexy girl with the nerdy guy, but he had the sharp mouth. And yeah, we really worked together. And I knew how to bring out the best in Gilbert, or the naughty in Gilbert, or the fun in Gilbert. And not like I saw him do in many other shows.
Yeah. Now we're
So
going to talk about Up All Night in a second, but there's
yeah.
one other show that you did too right before Up All Night that we're going to get to that I want to talk about. But there's somebody that I talked to last night, Rhonda, that says hello that you haven't spoke with in years. That she said, "Oh my God, you're talking to Rhonda Shear. Tell her I said hi."
Oh my
So
God.
she remembers you from your
Yes.
stand-up comedy days, and you were also on her sitcom Unhappily Ever After.
Oh, that's
Steph,
right.
Stephanie Hodge says hi.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I
Thank
I
you. I'll have
talked
to
to
read.
Stephanie last night. She said that you are so fun and funny, and she just loves you. And
That's
she's like,
so
you
sweet.
have to tell her I said hi. And I said I
Oh my
will.
gosh. I'll have to reach out to her too. Wow. That's really wild. Yes. I forgot about that one. I mean, you're right. There's a ton. I did one with a young Bill Maher. It's how I met Bill Maher. Went out with him a few times too, back in the day. He was so mean about the guy I was dating. He was hysterical. I mean, I was dating a comic who I dated for many years, and the things he would say about him as a comic was hysterical. These comics are very fun, can be very funny and very biting off camera. But Bill had a sitcom too, and I'm blanking on the name. You might be able to find it and pull it up. For a minute and a half. It really wasn't his thing. He's so good at what he's so brilliant. He's just such a brilliant guy. But um, yeah, he got that sitcom and I did that. I did all kinds of sitcoms. You're right. Some that didn't live long, but the ones we remember, of course, are the iconic ones.
Yep. And you hosted a show right before Up All Night, and it was called Spotlight Cafe on WWOR TV here
Yes.
locally in the New Jersey area.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
remember that where you hosted stand-up comedians. It was a
Yes.
variety show, all different things. Tell us about working on that show and what that was
That
like.
was great. Well, it's definitely during my up all night time and up all night. And it was Judy Tenuta had done it before me, and they gave each comic that they were hiring to do that. I think 15 episodes, 15. So I had 15, and it ran for a while. And I don't think I was the last host. I think it ran a few more times. It was really cool because I mean some of those people went on to be huge, as in Joe Rogan. So I have this clip of Joe Rogan, a really young Joe Rogan with a whole lot of hair, and just I mean, he's almost unrecognizable. And that's just kind of cool. It was just very cool. It was fun, and I did it very sexy. And the most I remember about it is I always changed outfits during Up All Night about 5 times in a show. So when I hosted that show, I changed for every show that I hosted at least 3 times. I wanted to keep that whole thing going that I was doing. So I changed outfits and I did it really sexy and very Rhonda-esque. So it was very cool. It was just a very cool gig. And of course, I love Judy, who's no longer with us, but it was very cool to follow her into that role.
Yep. Now, tell us what led you to All Night and how you got cast in that.
Well, at that time I was with Dick Clark Management, and Dick was had a management wing for musicians and actors and comics. And my manager had heard about that they were recasting Up All Night. They had a gal that was there a year and a half before me, named Caroline Schlitt. And I watched her. I thought she was really good. I thought she was really pretty, but networks do what they do. So I got an audition for it, and they said it was hosty and they wanted sexy. And I kind of had an inside track to that because my manager either knew someone at USA Network. I didn't have an inside track to get in the door, but I had an inside track about what they were really looking for. And I don't know if all the other gals knew that audition hundreds, because when I went to the audition, everybody was wearing back then. Newscasters would wear jackets and suits. It's not like it is now, like Fox TV, where they're all hot and sexy, or maybe all the networks. The girls who they no longer have to wear a jacket to be taken seriously as a newscaster. But anyway, all the girls came like in a very hosty, like newscaster look. And I knew that they were looking for a sexier version of the gal they had, whatever that meant. And so I went in with this really low cut dress. I plugged in my blow dryer or heating curling iron, or started curling my hair or something wacky. Cause I'd been doing stand-up comedy, and I kept being told that you're too sexy to do stand up. You're too pretty to be funny. And when you tell me no in anything in life, which I've heard my whole life, including even you can't be in the intimate apparel business, there's too many people in it. It's like, don't tell me no. I'm a Scorpio. I'm going to go further. I'm going to hit you harder with it. So I felt like I had nothing to lose because I kept getting told that you're too this or that to get ahead anyway, and that I stood out too much. So I went full force. I'm like, well, if I don't get it, I mean, I lose, actors lose roles constantly before they get one. And 3 months. It took 3 months. I don't know what took so long, but 3 months later, I got the call that I got it. And that was really cool. And so I sat with the director, that my first producer director named Tommy Lynch. Tommy still does children's show. He's been known for children's shows. I have no idea how he got that job producing the first time for me. But I think because of the children's show is a lot of the reason that the character we created together is that I wanted her to be innocent, but knowing and smart and funny, big blonde hair. I wanted her to be sexy to hold the viewers visually to watching really bad films, but I wanted what came out of her mouth to be sassy and smart. And I kept my own name. That was probably a problem. Like I should have, like Elvira, changed my name, or Cassandra Peterson, but I didn't. And that haunted me right after the show for being typecast is a lot of boobs, a lot of hair. But anyway, it was great for what I did. And then we sat in my kitchen and we said, yeah, a little naive, but always open to anything that goes on around her. Because we had a lot of sexiness around us too. But I was not judgmental. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Because we'd have porn stars on. It'd be like, wow, that's lovely. But no shock, but like wonderment, curiosity. And then I said, I've got to come up with a way to say up all night. And he goes, that's great, do that. And I go, okay. And that's how it was born. Because I had done a commercial in New Orleans for a company called the Shape Spa. And it was an all women's gym. And I would go, let's get in shape. And it was like the same kind of, so I mean, for years, people would, that spa was so well known. And I mean, people would stop me on the street as, you're the Shape Spa girl, just like the up all night woman. So, and now the bra lady. So I've always been good at branding before branding was a term. So I think that there was a business sense always that I had, but, um, you know, just trying to get ahead in different ways, because it was always a struggle, obviously, to be seen and heard, not like it is now with the internet and geez, I don't know, with the, social media. It's really great for young people that can do it really fast. I can do it, but not like these young kids do.
Now, did you know when you were filming it how special it was going to be and that it was going to become a cult classic?
I had a feeling. I had a feeling. I didn't know, but I had a really good feeling. And for some reason, USA Network kept changing directors on me. I was on for over 8 years, and I had 7 directors. So it was kind of frustrating for me because I'd get to where I want to be. Sorry, I have an itchy nose. My mother always said you're going to have money come to you when that happens. Um, but I'd get to a great place with a director and then they'd change directors. It was very odd. I don't know why, but I have to say I had great experiences with every director, even though at the time, maybe I didn't like something. When I think back at everything that they all brought, I learned so much. And some of those people that I worked with went on to do huge things. As a matter of fact, a young man who wrote some of the shows, who was started off as a PA, and then they hired him, and then he started writing some of the episodes in the mid 90s. He went on, and he's been an exec producer for Bill Maher for years. And I still think he's like in that position. I mean, so people went on and did, one guy went on and worked for Stern. Um, yeah, so it was just amazing. Jimmy Fallon. I mean, I've been catching up with some of these people lately, Hallmark Channel. So a lot of them just went on and did really big things. Some of the actors went on and did big things. Steve Sharippa, from not The Godfather. What was the big mafia show? I'm blanking. See, I always like my sitcoms.
The Sopranos?
Sopranos. Had a
I
scene.
was on The Sopranos. I was an extra on The Sopranos.
Nice.
Ah,
Okay. Well, then you'll love this little tidbit. Steve Sharippa. I don't know his character because I didn't really watch the show. But Steve Sharippa, I know he played kind of a thug type, big guy. He was a manager of the improvisation comedy club at the Riviera Hotel. And that's how I knew him, because I was a headliner at the Riviera at the Improv. The Improv would hire him, and then they'd send me to Vegas to work that room. And I knew him, and he was really a tough guy. And his first television appearance, I'd love you to have him on, so for him to say this, if he would, was with Up All Night. And we'd make him do crazy things. He came on at least a half dozen times as Steve Sharipper, the maitre d' from the Improv at the Riviera. And we'd have him do crazy things like washing wigs or how to make a sandwich. But it was like funny. It was just really funny, almost like Letterman-esque, stuff. So, yeah, so we definitely had some interesting people as actors, and the people I interviewed through the years for the shows that we did on the road were just insane. I mean, just when I look back, it's just Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, just amazing, amazing, amazing. Barbara Walters, um, thousands through the years of voices and people that I met. It was very cool.
Do you have one favorite memory from the show?
People have asked me that, and there's been so many great memories that I can't say there's one anything. Probably the most memorable for me was a personal moment when the show went to New Orleans and we shot at my mom's house. And that was really cool. And we had my mother and my brothers, one brother, I have two brothers, one brother, my sister, my niece, my mom. Yeah, everybody was dressed sitting on my mom's couch, shoulder to shoulder, all wearing big blonde wigs. So it was really a funny show, and it was just very heartfelt. So I think that was, and it was cool to have my mom on the show. And then we shot at Mardi Gras, not the same time, another year, and we shot during a Mardi Gras. And we rode on the float, and that was cool as well. So I think those were favorite moments because they were in my hometown, and I always love showing off New Orleans, but. There's been so many great shows. Shows with Gilbert stand out to me. We were in the Bahamas together. We just did great moments. I mean, there's just so many magical moments. And now that we've rebooted so much of that, looking at Ulford, I'm the only one. Well, you're going to love this, Mike. USA Network, when the show ended, they got rid of all of the tape stock for the tape stock. They erased it all. They zapped it. So I'm sure Gilbert, I don't know, unless a fan kept it or maybe a producer director kept a few of their shows, it's gone. I mean, I think I feel worse about Gilbert. It was in my contract to get 2 VHSs, which I got for every show. I'm missing a few, but for the most part, not. And it's all been, digitized now, mainly digitized. I mean, definitely to DVD. Still working on it, a lot of shows, but and I'm the only one who has those, and which is why I'm able to do some really cool things with some of those episodes now. It's really sad that they would get rid of such amazing shows, and it's really funny for me to look back and see these different directors. And I've been speaking to one, Dave Morgeson. He directed my last shows in LA before they moved the show to New York. I didn't move to New York, but I'd go in and bank like 4 at a time for 3 years. And so he was like that last director. And we didn't do a full year together. We've been talking because he may come in and direct some here for me. And he really got it. It's a shame we didn't get a longer time together because he parodied Baywatch and he parodied other so they were acting bits, but they were funny and they were smart, but yet they were sexy. And that's where we're going for right now. We're getting there. The show you just watched was not that. I definitely had a director, I'm not going to, who definitely was going for, as we say, hoo-hoo forward. So I want the shows to be classy and sexy, and there's a certain standard and that I look for, that I know that you can be sexy without, so it seems like younger directors today are giving the whole ball of wax away without seducing it. And that's what I'm in for and that's what Dave did. He did these, like, we did this really funny parody of Baywatch. And then one of the actors gets a phone call within the scene and he picks it up and he's like, oh no, the ratings are going down. The producer wants us just to stop everything and jog in place. So, I mean, we were making fun of it. We weren't blatantly showing, everything, but so we did that. So it definitely, and then they slow mode it down. Very funny, but it was making fun of yourself and being self-deprecating and smart. And it was just good writing. And we're getting there. I mean, we've only done 6 of them. And I'm in Florida and I'm working with a crew that basically has done more commercial work because this is the home of infomercials and Home Shopping Network. And so these people are not used to doing comedy or episodic or sitcom. And they're getting there. And I'm working with I found a writer who I really like, and he's got the tone that I really like. And we work together and write it together. I'll come up with the concepts and then we just kind of flush it out. And lately he goes, "What happened to that joke?" And I'm like, "No, my director keeps going for other stuff." I don't know if he's reading the script, but I've been bringing in these really hot little young actresses, and I think I think we need to switch up directors. It's fine for that; it's all good, but you also need to be funny as well. And also my whole thing about Up All Night was that I was talking to the audience, like not the audience, but like it was one guy, one woman, as they were a fly on the wall in a woman's bedroom or a girl's bedroom and what goes on there. And I'm not doing the cleavage like I did back in the day, but I do have lovely young actresses on and or scream queens. I'm going to have some of the my friends from back in the day, like Briggs Stevens and Linnea Quigley, and these big names that everybody grew up with from the horror genre, they're coming on. They're all dying to come on. So they're like, they're like horror royalty. So, but I want them. I'm glad that we're in the molding stage and finding ourselves. So we're getting there. We have a beautiful stage, and it's very reminiscent of the original show.
Yes, so I'm so excited. So Up All Night is coming back. It's back now. So after the original run, I do want to briefly mention before we get into the revival of Up All Night, you started your own business. So can you
Yes.
tell us about that and how that you invented the Abra and started your own intimate collections line? So tell
Oh
us
my
about
gosh,
that.
you've so done your homework, Mike. So
I
I
remember the commercials for it.
Oh, and yeah, the commercial's great. Well, I reunited with my junior high school sweetheart and got married 25 years ago. And that I was in LA when we reunited. I never dreamed of leaving LA. But right after Up All Night, I was very typed into into Rhonda Up All Night. So I was doing stand up, and stand up was great. I was headlining, but it's like I was like looking forward into my life. Like after 40 in LA back then, you were done or you felt done, and you were discouraged. It's not like now, like J Lo. Look at J Lo's a senior citizen out there doing that. I'm just getting a sip of water. Doing what she does, which I love, and Nicole Kidman, and they're all in their late 50s and moving into 60. And I'm like, yeah. Or look at Jean Smart, like all these women are doing it. But back then, it was like, mm-mm, you were just done. So anyway, I started thinking because I'd never married and I'd been with a comic and for years and such, but I never married by choice. I was very career driven. And back then it almost was better. Like for some reason, if you were single before the Me Too movement, you just gave off this, "Oh, I'm single." Yeah, I don't know. It was just a very different time then. There was a few situations I had to run from, but I also never went and auditioned in someone's hotel room. Not that I wasn't asked, but that wasn't who I was. Um, but anyway, so my first kiss reaches out to me through classmates.com one day. And I had finally broken up with this guy that was with 14 years. And I was like, gosh, Van Fagan, you never forget your first kiss. Also, he broke my heart. And I just wanted to torment him. So, I just gotten off of Up All Night a couple of years, and I was like, I'm going to mess with him. And so I started flirting back and forth, and I kept trying to get him to come meet up with me in New York. I was traveling so much as a stand up. And then finally, I went back home to New Orleans for Christmas, and we met up there. And it was magical. I mean, I dated all these comics. I went out with Glenn Fry. I went out with, different people through the years in LA, stars, whatever, celebrities. And I ended up falling all over again for the first boy I ever kissed. And we eloped in 15 days. So it was insane. So he's living in Louisiana. I'm living in Beverly Hills. I'm acting. He's got his own business. He's living in Lafayette, Louisiana, not even in New Orleans, which is Cajun country, but it's country. And we didn't really think that part through very well. And then within a very short amount of time, he ended up losing his business. Just things fell apart for him. And so sold his business. And this is in our first few months of marriage. And I'm like, great, I married you. You had a business. Now you don't. I'm doing stand up. I don't have a show. And literally, we both went financially from here to like in the toilet. And we heard about I always loved intimate apparel and design just because I've always created doing the pageants and dancing my whole life. I've always loved costuming and clothing and design, even though I didn't major in it. So we had this opportunity we heard about at Home Shopping Network, that they needed somebody for intimate apparel. So we pulled together a little line, and it wasn't much of anything, but and sent it to them. And they were kind of desperate because they had lost someone in that category who was not a big category at the time, but they brought me in because they knew me from the show, and they're like, I guess, giving people a shot, and it was a little bit of luck, which I don't really have. I'm always one that climbs as opposed to just having luck fall at me. But anyway, we got there and we sold out within minutes with this line. And they're asking me, this buyers, or I'm not used to buyers, I'm used to casting directors and producers, right? They're like, when can you be back? And I'm like, next week. I would just wanted to be back on television, even if it was just Home Shopping Network. And my husband's like, we need product. I'm like, oh yeah, that. I was trying to do stand-up comedy on air. It was funny, but there's no doubt that the stand-up comedy and the pageants and everything that I had done my whole life had prepared me to sell my own product because it was live TV. I had no problem with live TV. I had never sold anything. I was never a waitress. I had never worked as a sales girl in my life. And so I'd never sold anything, but I believed in my product. So I just, when we slowly started building our product and working with people, no banks would even touch us, but we kept investing back in ourselves and investing and putting it back into the bank until finally my husband saw that this one product, which we created, the bra, was killing it. He said, we should do an infomercial on that. I'm like, an infomercial on a bra? Like an infomercial is like something that the whole family can use. And he was brilliant. It was his idea. We partnered up with somebody out of Canada, and it was a 50-50 deal because usually infomercials, they want to give you like 3%, like on Shark Tank, they own you. If you're on Shark Tank, forget it. It's not your business. So these other people, they bought the television time, which was very expensive back then. And we produced the product. And it was the number one infomercial, still to this day, one of the number one infomercials. And we won awards. There was awards for infomercials back then. And award-winning Ernst& Young Entrepreneur of the Year and Most Innovative Product at Home Shopping Network and fastest growing female-owned business. It was just insane. And I'd never been considered an entrepreneur, so that blew me away. I was like, I'd heard bimbo, but the whole thing was just such a surprise. And I'm speaking in front of colleges and business groups, and it was just wild. It was just a wild journey. But my husband came from business. My family was in business, but my background was acting and comedy and in front of the camera. But anyway, all these years, 25 years, we're in the business now. And there's no doubt that everything I did is why we're still successful and why we're still on the air and still selling worldwide. Although our business is changing too, where now it's going back to, or I shouldn't, not going back. It's a new world of shopping, like retail. You've probably heard Saks and all these companies are hurting. HSN and QVC, they're all different because people are shopping on their phone and they're shopping on their TV and they're shopping on their computer and they're shopping off of Facebook and Instagram, and TikTok is huge. So we're starting to sell on TikTok and Amazon Live because this is the next step. So it's like, I can't retire and I can't die. Or we can't die and we can't retire. I don't know which way, but I will be working till definitely. I'm going to be one of those people that croaks on stage for sure, or on the shopping channel selling a bra, I'm sure. I love my business because I love helping women, and it's a great message for women to put out there. And I didn't realize when we started doing this and designing that so many women would come to me like after breast cancer or breast surgery or other surgeries and thank me. So we don't make medical bras, but it does play into that world, and they love our bras for medical purposes. And it's just this really great feel good business. And it's just like, it was exciting to get a laugh on a sitcom stage because you heard the real laughter when you did, maybe that's why I didn't like movies. It's not instant gratification, but you hear the laughter. You heard the laughter during stand-up. I need that instant gratification. I guess that's my personality from New Orleans. And it's that way when you're selling a bra on live television. Instantly if that bra is moving, and then people write you and say, thank you, this product is great. So it's a very rewarding business, and it's been lucrative for us. And but we are moving into the next phase. Things are changing. So we had two buildings. One was our warehouse and one was our design center and our offices and just everything. Because we actually manufacture, or we have, I should say, we design and we're manufactured all over the world. But so we know everything about that side of the business. And we learned from nothing. My husband and I started just, you know, selling a few products on HSN and lucking out that first time. But we learned and anyway, went on and built this mom and pop, but this big mom and pop business, but we're still a mom and pop business. But we had these two buildings and we decided one, we were no longer warehousing our own things because we're using a partner from California that ships for us. So we decided instead of selling it that to turn it into a studio and we could rent it out for all things production, movies, film, television commercials, HSN if they wanted it. They've moved to Philly and consolidated with QVC since then. But podcasts, influencers, whatever. And then this moment came for HSN and my husband, who's just incredible builder too. He and, a couple of other carpenters put together the original Up All Night set. And so that's what we started doing. And then I went to a convention and met Kings of Horror, someone who works with the programming, which is a channel on YouTube. He owns 6 channels, but that's one of them where he thought I'd play the best. It's not necessarily the best channel, but I'm getting known now there. But because our films aren't just horror, there are a lot of the cult comedy favorites. But anyway, what's great about the Kings of Horror is they have the films. They license the films, and you need the films if you're going to host the films. And we have the studio. I don't have I do have talent from here, but I don't have all the LA talent. So we've been bringing people in and using local talent, a kind of a combination of both. And it's really starting to explode. Like in the beginning, it's like, you expect people just to come to you, but they don't because there's so much noise out there on social media and there's so many things to watch everywhere now. But there's no doubt I feel like we're at that place where word of mouth, I do have a publicist out of LA too, so we're getting a lot of press, but I think it's all starting to happen. And then we're looking for that next home as well.
Yeah, that's definitely very exciting. And I want to know in relaunching this, what did you say to yourself has to stay the same from the original version? And is there anything that you said, I'm going to change up a little bit for the modern day era?
Well, I'm not speaking the whole time in a high pitched voice. I do say Up All Night and I do speak in third person. I don't want to be the one with my boobs out. I do want to bring sexy back. I think I love uplifting women and not degrading women. So I'm very cognizant of that, even though the Valentine's show may look different. My girls didn't mind it, but I want women to always look and be in the classiest light and be beautiful. What they do on their own is one thing, but on my show, that's how I want them, seen. I do want it to be sexy and light and fun. I want it to be funny. So I really want it funny. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. We're definitely worth watching. I'm just being very honest. I'm a very honest person because I really want that smart comedy. And I want my guys to tune in because you're going to see beautiful women, but then they're going to get a good laugh and a good joke. And you're going to see some good male acts and good actors like John Brennan, who came to me from Joe Bob Briggs. He's like very beloved in the horror genre and he's a regular on the show. So I want to surround myself with cast. And I guess that's because I never got my sitcom fix that I really enjoy doing the sketches, which we did a lot of. I mean, if we weren't on the road on Up All Night, we were definitely in the studio and it was very driven by sketch comedy, especially my very last years on Up All Night. We did parodies and takeoffs on Lucy and The Honeymooners and Sonny and Cher and Bewitched and Jeannie, all my shows that I grew up with. So now we already have in the works the Rondashians. Rhonda Mania is our wrestling show. We're going to do a spoof off of that Hot Wing show that's on YouTube. So I want to do spoofs, so I want them to be funny and smart, and that's it. So we're getting there, and we're on the right track. Because I'm training a whole new group of, not my actors are great, but a whole new group of crew and people that this is new to. So there's no doubt. I'm doing a podcast right now for that I'll announce on your show right now. It's called bloodstream.com. Bloodstream is an app that you can go to and watch movies. You can watch the movies free or you can pay for them You can watch them for free with commercials, or you can watch them and pay for them with no commercials. They're brand new, but it's a huge owner. It's a huge company behind it. And so they talked to me, and we talked initially about bringing Up All Night to them, but it's not the right show. It's not the right format, because if a filmmaker puts their film up on there and you click it to watch that film, you're going to get paid immediately. They're already monetized. So they explained to me, like, no filmmaker is going to want to share with Up All Night. And I get it, because it's so little, They said, but we would love you to do a Rhonda Up All Night podcast for us. I'm like, yes, I'm in. So I did my first 3 yesterday. And so what I'm doing is I am talking about films that are on their channel. So I bring in either the actor or the filmmaker or the producer, whoever is the most involved. And I had 3 filmmakers on yesterday. It was great. And so I'm talking about their films. And of course, if they press, the name of it is Rhonda Shear Up All Night Between the Sheets. And we're doing it from my set, and everybody has to wear pajamas. Like, if they're at home, they have to wear pajamas. And so far, everybody's played in the sandbox. So I had, just beautiful. I had 2 women filmmakers, and they were both in lingerie. It was great. I mean, I'm in pajamas and they're in really sexy lingerie. So that was great. So it's fun. I think that's really, and I'm going to take that podcast, and I'm going to also do it on my own outside of Bloodstream. But it's a very exciting time for me creatively. And I know, like you love creating. I love creating. And the podcast thing is fabulous. I think it's a fabulous way, because they're visual now as well. So yeah, and Up All Night. So I've got a lot, and my bras and panties. The Rhonda Shear intimate line. I can't forget about that, because really that's the train that keeps everything on track. And I love the business, and it's just very exciting. And I have to say, my husband and I are really great partners. Although you still have that husband wife. I'll say, blah, 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 blah. I mean, our arguments are usually silly, but we work very well together. 25 years, we built this from nothing, literally from zero. I'm very proud of it.
And now you have an episode coming up on February 27, which I'm really excited for. It is a wrestling theme episode, and you have 2 very special guest stars appearing on this episode, and I know both of them. I've met Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler. He is great, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler from WWE, and my very good friend of the show and in real life. She's been on here a whopping 7 times on my show. Jeannie Basone, who played Hollywood from Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. So, what can you tell us what can we expect from this episode?
Well, they were both on my radar from day one. I'm glad that we put a little under, in terms of getting production and everything down from day one. I knew Jeannie she was on Up All Night back in the day, and I've run into her. And I've also had her on playing around with podcasts during COVID. I was playing around. She came on, whatever I'd asked her to do, she's done for me. And then I've run into her. We weren't, we didn't know each other well back in the day, but she did the show. I love her. I feel like I've known her a lifetime. I think we're very much the same. We're not ready to give that goat up at all. Like, she wants to bring back Glow, and I think she should. I mean, I know there's a name thing, but she'll do it. She's got it. She's in the best shape of her life. She's gorgeous. She's funny. I mean, she was a trailblazer. I have so much. She wrote a book. I respect her, because she's an entrepreneur, and you can't just rest on your laurels as being an actor or anything. You have to do more now. And Nick Nemeth is the same thing. He was Dolph Ziggler. First of all, wrestling and Up All Night really go together, because USA Network would air WWF. And I definitely did so many shows for WWF as a location shoot. Would go and shoot at all these different shows. Plus, I did WrestleMania 10. So I know that. I know a lot of wrestlers, and if just somehow or other the horror genre and the wrestling genre go together, I don't know why, but they love each other. So anyway, Nick, I don't know how we started either liking each other on Instagram or something, and I'm like, I don't know how it happened, but I'm like, oh my God, this guy is a megastar, and he's writing that he grew up with me. And I'm like, what? I mean, I was a little starstruck over Nick. I mean, he's a beautiful man. I don't care how old I am. And it went back and forth. And I'm like, you need to come on the show. I was really a little intimidated to ask him. I really was, because I didn't know him at all. But we kept writing back and forth. And then finally, my writer and I were like, let's do Rhonda Mania. And let me see if I can get Jeannie, and if I get Hollywood and Nick. and the stars lined up because they're both so busy. He does his thing with TNA, she does her thing with all the shows, conventions, and everything. And we wrote this show, and it's really cute. I mean, hopefully it'll look great, but I know it will because they're on it, and we did some different camera angles, so I know that's going to look great. But we got a full out. There's a guy that we know very well here who does a little work with my company on the side, but he's also a professional wrestler, but on a, on a lower level, starting out. And then we know another female wrestler here as well. This is Tampa, Florida. It's like the home of wrestlers. So we asked them to come on the show too, and she's gorgeous. And he came on, and I asked him, his name is TJ. I said, TJ, is there any way that you can get us a ring? And TJ got us a ring, a full out 18 by 18 foot, really run down ring, but nonetheless, a ring that we put in my bedroom set on the show, which I immediately went under the ropes and through the ropes and fell onto because the floor is, I guess it's a training ring, but according to Nick and Jeannie, they said it was a death trap ring. And they're saying, so it's apparently more than usual. Because I've walked on those rings. I've never felt anything that felt like you were on a really bad boat. But anyway, so their bits they're pitted against each other, which is great. Instead of doing two guys, they're pitted against each other. They smack talk each other, and they are just doing crazy things. I don't even want to tell you, but all kinds of, but like one is finger wrestling, and then all these silly games we have them do, and they're adorable together. And I'm in it, and it's just adorable. And then my gals, I had Scream Queens in from the day before. Mel Heflin and Jessa Flux. They're very well known in today's world. And they were in for a show, the Valentine's show, and they stayed in, and they were my ring girls. And they're hot and sexy and beautiful. So they did bits with, the numbers and the rings and the rounds, the ring girl. Yeah, the round girls. And anyways, it was a really fun show, and we're already getting a lot of PR on it. My publicist put, it's already popped up in a couple of wrestling publications online, and he's doing another round this week. So I'm really excited about it. I'm really, really excited about both of them. And they were lovely. They were professional. They were funny. They went along with it. They ad-libbed so much of the stuff. And I really want to do Rhonda Mania 2, 3, and, keep adding to it, different stuff. But I told both of them, I said, you don't have to come back as yourself. I mean, yes, you can come as yourself. But if you want to play some crazy characters, both of them love comedy, and Nick is a stand-up as well. I would love them to do, if you want to experiment here and play some nerd or something, or whatever you want to do, please come and use this as your playground.
Back in the day, or even now, do you watch wrestling, or were you a fan of like Glow, for example? Did you have a favorite Glow girl?
No, I got into it later, I think only because of Up All Night. I mean, I wasn't initially, and I knew more of the guys from yesteryear because I got to know them. I was on the road with some of those guys and doing shows with them. I'm trying to think of the guy that they had me. He's like the head of WWE now, from what I understand. He basically runs the show now. But they
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels. They created
Yes.
I'd love to get Shawn on the show. I don't know how to make that happen, but they created this love affair between us that went on for about a year. And it was at WrestleMania 10. And then it was like he and Burt Reynolds were fighting over me. It was really funny. And, but he came on my show. I went with him. We would do all these bits where he was grabbing the mirror over me, but I'd love to have him on. I know he's a big deal now. But he was so sweet. I mean, it was great. It was fun. I loved going out with them and watching. Back then, I asked Nick, I said, do they eat the way they did back then? And he says, no, it's very different now. But in Vegas, I'll never forget, I sat down with him at a buffet, and I can't remember where we were staying. And he had like 10, I don't know, made like 20 pancakes and like a stack of steaks. I'll never forget it. I'd never seen anything like, I mean, I grew up with two older brothers, but a lot of protein and a lot of carbs before those shows.
So can you tell everybody, so everybody knows, where can they watch this new version of Up All Night, and what is the scheduling like for the show?
Well, we are doing different episodes every other Friday night, and it's on kingsofhorror.com. which you can just find on your computer, or you can go to YouTube and just when it says search, you can search Kings of Horror. And and then you can subscribe for free. There's different levels, but you can subscribe for free. You can watch the show for free. And you can see all the past shows we've done. We had an October Halloween, we had a Thanksgiving, we had a Christmas, we had a New Year's, we had the Valentine's, and the next show will be the wrestling show. So it's really early. I got it in early. I'm really excited about that. And then we have others coming up. We're also going to do some fun shows because I own the clips from Up All Night, because I'm the only one who has those with me in it. Kings of Horror is going to license some of the old films from yesteryear and cut in my bits from those old movies. So I think the fans will really love that. So we might be doing those on the in-between weeks that we don't have a brand new show. But just go look Up All Night. We're there, and you can certainly watch the old shows in the meantime. And right now, the the Valentine show is doing very well with viewers. And like I said, we're still very brand new, and people are just finding us now because there's a lot to look for. But you're also going to be able to find me on the Up All Night channel on Roku very soon. I would say in the next month. So I would definitely in March start looking for that on Roku, and it'll be the Up All Night Network. And you're going to see lots of Rhonda Shear content along with other comics, some animated shows. Meet the Carvers is going to be on there. They're a horror, really funny horror animated show, and it's going to be like my own Sirius radio channel where I put on friends and all the things that I want, people that have done their own comedy specials. So a lot of interesting content that you've never seen. Plus, I'm going to work with some filmmakers that I have filmmakers that want indie filmmakers that want me just to air their films. And we're going to do that. So, and maybe at the end of the year, have the Rondi Awards. So it's definitely a moment of definitely in the creative mode right now, Mike. So you've got to come and play on the show. You've got to come be a character on the show, and
definitely.
You'll have to send me what you want to do, and Jeannie, I'll sandwich you between Jeannie and I.
Yeah,
she can slam you, and I'll boob you to death.
No, I need to know. I need to know, what is harder for you, being the face of the iconic show or reinventing it? And then I also want to know, what has been the audience reaction so far to the episodes you've put out?
I'll answer the first one the last one first. The reaction has been amazing, like so exciting. I have 9 conventions coming up so far this year. A lot of these girls do them every other week, these cons, and I don't have the time, but I have 9 coming up. And the remarks have been, well, the legacy people who remember me are like, oh my God, thank you. You brought me back to my youth. And then they're watching with their young, either their children or their grandchildren. They're loving. New people are finding it. Wow, this is what we missed from the 90s. So the comments have been amazing, really amazing. Thankfully, I'm not trying to make myself younger than I am. I was never going to go that direction. I'm happy in my skin. I am still Rhonda, but I'm the older, wiser Rhonda, or maybe not wiser, but definitely the older. And I still love young people around me, and having all kinds of different people in the when they come into the Rhonda world, they can play and do whatever they want, wrestle, have a ring in the Rhonda bedroom. So that's really cool. So the comments have been great. The hardest thing about doing it is not the character, is that I can't let go of something that I didn't have back in the day in the 90s, because it's my own studio and I am producing it in my head. I'm directing it in my head. I am worried about my actors in my head. I'm worried about catering. Is there enough food? Will they like the food? So I'm not, I said this yesterday to a filmmaker. She goes, oh, you're an indie filmmaker now. Welcome to our world. I'm like, I don't like it. I just want to hit the set when I get there and just have fun and let go and not be worried about the lighting and everything else. So that's the hardest thing. But I think at some point, when I love my people around me. I love all my people, but when I feel like everybody's got that in sync and that the crew starts acting like they're an extension of the cast, which they're getting there, then I'll be able to let go. And my caterer definitely had enough food the last, because people bring people. I'm like, I need to know how many people are coming. Or stop bringing so many. Not everybody needs an entourage, because we're catering. And I want to feed people well. And I always know a happy cast and crew is a well-fed cast and crew, and that's my New Orleans upbringing too. So always hot, beautiful meals, breakfast and lunch. So that's the hardest part, is that I'm wearing too many hats in my head and not just being free. Like I could walk on the set of Up All Night and back then and just have fun.
Yep. And now when you're juggling so many things, you got to be worrying about so many things, you know? But
I
now,
am.
now,
I
now I
am.
got, now I'm going to give you something to worry about even more, and it's called a lightning round.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to give you two things. You tell me which one you prefer.
Okay. You got it.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs. Dogs. I got 4 right by me right now.
What's worse in public? If you spill coffee on yourself or you trip over nothing?
Tripping over nothing. Tripping. I do that. I do that. I tripped in front of everybody on the set. I'm like, at least you should have been filming it.
What's scarier to drive through, a tunnel or a bridge?
Oh, bridge. I hate.
80s or 90s?
Hmm. It's kind of like the end of the 80s to the mid 90s. I made my own decade there, 85 to 95.
Okay. Are you a hoarder or do you throw everything out?
A light hoarder. If I wasn't a hoarder, I wouldn't have all 430 episodes of All Night. So thank God that I have all this wonderful content. I'm less of a hoarder now on tchotchkes. I used to be a tchotchke thing everywhere in my house, but I don't do that anymore.
What's worse? Can't stop sneezing or can't stop hiccuping?
Ooh, those are both. I think it's the sneeze cup. Both of those, it's a sneeze. When I get into a sneeze, it's like I can't stop. So that's harder. Can't be good for you.
Would you rather change the past or foresee the future?
Oh no, I foresee the future. No, I don't want to change the past. No.
Would you rather text or call?
Text. I'm definitely a young person that way.
Which do you lose more, your keys or your phone?
Oh, my phone. Every 10 minutes. If I wasn't talking to you on it, it would be missing.
Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Would you rather know a comforting lie or the painful truth?
Oh, painful truth. Truth. I can't lie well at all myself. I get caught in my own lies. So always the truth.
And finally, would you rather have the ability to fly, but only as fast as you can walk, or would you rather be able to teleport, but only places you've already been to?
Oh, fly. I need to fly. I've never stopped flying.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you. Really, we have to stay in touch. I need to be on 6 more times to catch up with Hollywood, and you need to
Yes,
come.
definitely. We can have a competition here.
And you need to come on Up All Night and come down to Florida.
Yes.
Thank you
Can,
so much, Mike.
can you tell everybody how they can keep up with you on social media?
Yes, thank you. Well, if rhondashear.com, at this point, all things intimate. If you want all things about the show and my conventions and product about the show, go to rhondashearupallnight.com, rhondashearupallnight.com, and follow me, please, on Instagram. And I still love Facebook. My generation loves Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I'm growing my TikTok, and definitely go to hsn.com. Find me there if you need a good bra. And please go check us out on kingsofhorror.com. You will love the new show. I'm very proud of it. I just want it to be the best of the best of the best of the best. And I want to win. What do they call the awards on cable? I mean, on the internet. I know there's an internet award. I want to win one.
Yes, what are they? Oh gosh, I don't know either. Because they don't nominate me. Why have I not been nominated?
I think you have to nominate yourself. I think that's the whole thing. I don't know.
What are those war? I know what you're talking
Well,
about.
that's the
Webby?
problem is we have to know the name of the awards before we can
I
win them.
know. We already disrespected them. Are they the Webby Awards,
The
maybe?
Webbies, the Webbies,
Web.
that's what they are.
Yep.
The
Okay. The
Webbies.
Webby Awards. Well, because I'm still waiting on my Emmy.
Me too. I've given up on the Emmy and the Oscar. I did win an Ernst and Young. That's a pretty cool award for entrepreneurs. So I'm taking that at the moment. And 3 Miss Louisiana titles. That's not bad.
Not bad at all. And you guys follow me too. I'm on Facebook at Official Mike Grand, on Instagram at Official Mike Grand. On X, I am Mike Grand Com, like the website, MikeGrand.com. And be sure to watch us on YouTube. It's at Official Mike Grand on YouTube or youtube.com/the Mike Grand. Also, I'm on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud. Hopefully, we'll be expanding all over the place. So be sure to watch out. Thank you
Yes.
again, Rhonda, for joining us here today.
Thank you, Mike, so much. And I'll see you soon. Stay
Yes.
up with me.
Okay, everyone. Thank you for watching and stay all night and be sure to watch us and continue watching us, okay? See you all later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.